Yes, we are. We are recording.
Thank you, Jim. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the ISSIP Ambassadors annual meeting. ISSIP has been a great organization, and we recognize and support the development of people-centered and data-intensive innovation that benefits people, business, and society. And I'd like to first of all thank all of you as an ambassador. And I know Jim and Michelle, you have other important roles for ISSIP, but you're also an ambassador. So I'd like to thank you for the work that you're doing, supporting ISSIP, and also the other organizations. The weather is getting cooler, so I thought we'll have a fire, and then we in the fireplace, and then we have a fireside chat. So I'll move on to I'll be the host for the fireside chat, with Jim and Michelle. So maybe I'll start with you, Michelle. How are you, Michelle?
Hi, good, thanks.
Yeah, I know. It's been a very exciting year so far for ISSIP. And I also read the newsletter, right? A newly published newsletter for October. So congratulations. And then I wondered if you can share some of the highlights with us.
Sure. Actually, yeah, let's I'm thinking that's the easiest way to I don't know if you're on the call, if you know how to raise your hand to answer a question, but I had thought that actually looking at that newsletter is a good way to check out the latest happenings. Are you guys able to see my screen and the newsletter itself?
Yes.
So just, the state of ISSIP is, strong. We're growing, and in all the right ways, in terms of membership. We're when I talked to you last year, I think we were approaching 1,600 members, and now we say in our basic, who is ISSIP, 1,600 members, and now we're beyond 1,700. We're approaching 1,750. So we're about to update all these things. Membership's up. Volunteerism is up in some key leadership posts and in some great support work. So that's starting to cook, and engagement is good. Setting some, records each time with good engagement levels, registration levels for the Discovery Summit, for the Ambassador Series, and then engagement at these events is good. This is our first. We had Cecilia Lee, who is also an ambassador, right? Has served as editorial director, chief content editor of the ISSIP News for 2 years and done a fantastic job. And has been helping us as she transitions into a new job and a new role. And she's going to continue being an ambassador, thank goodness, and very active with ISSIP. But she's stepping down as editor of the newsletter. So July, August, September, we were working out how that's going to work in the new process. And we're looking for a new chief content editor to step into Cecilia's shoes. And in the meantime, I'm the managing editor. And this is our new format. So we've just kind of cleaned up to align to some of the more recent work on our website and in our messaging. So here's the new look and feel, right, of ISSIP News. So who is ISSIP? This is shortly going to say 1,700, and we're working on the metrics of component pieces. Who are we now? And the message, so you're going to meet here in this newsletter, and I know Christine's going to bring it up further on the call, our 3 candidates for vice president. I see one right there on screen, Mauricio. And in the newsletter and right here, so cast your vote for the VPs, review the highlights of the Discovery Summit, the link to nominate for excellence in service innovation for the coming year, and then the advanced look at ambassador events and conferences. I don't know if Zara Shasaya is on the call yet, but she is the person on the newsletter team. She's the chief content manager of all the content you guys as ambassadors are posting, Zara goes every day into LinkedIn and looks for all of you, sees what you're posting, what events are coming up for you, what materials you may have posted, and she's putting that in Slack and pulling it together in the news. So much thanks to Zara for the great work she continues to do on that and other projects for us. So here's what it looks like. And had you looked at this before?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I really
You did.
I really like the new format.
So here's our new candidates for VP with their platforms. The call for nominations for excellence in service innovation is open now. And on everything, our goal here is to be really brief with an image and a quick blurb, and then click here, and we're taking people to the website where the full info is, right? The platforms for the candidates, the application for the nomination. And then there will be, going forward in this spot, a downloadable insights piece, right? From a guest contributor or one of you, a blog, something insightful and interesting of value. If it's green, it's an award-related item. Okay, so green is award-related items. So these are the best paper awards. The Discovery Summit was orange, yellow to orange. So the recap for the Discovery Summit, and then ambassadors are red. Whatever's coming up, and Christine will have this spot for whatever it is we're highlighting, what you want to highlight that ambassadors are up to this month. So basically, Christine had pointed out here that she has these 2 planning meetings coming up, and then all the ambassador events and activities, a profile, and then the call to get involved by contributing to the newsletter, by being an ambassador, by clicking to publish or write a chapter, write a book, write a chapter, and then the full list of volunteer possibilities. And then Zara also puts together from industry research every month, a recommended reading list of what you've recommended, what Jim has said, oh, this is particularly good. And it gets that into a condensed recommended reading list that is quite a resource. And that's our new format. And also note at the bottom, there used to be a big, did you know we're free? We're not saying that anymore. And we're thinking about it. So that's one thing cooking. And I did want to say not to run through, but when we talked last year at this time, I walked you through the intro to ISSIP, and you guys all know ISSIP and you know us well. But there is a new sort of resources for you as we grow, right? Branding, you see the Zoom background here behind me and Christine and Jim. And that's available to you as ambassadors. If you ever are representing ISSIP at the conferences that you're working with, or introducing us for whatever purpose among your network, that Zoom, actually a link to it is available in chat, and Christine's going to give that to you. Separately, there's this PowerPoint intro to ISSIP. This is the new format you see kind of linked to that Zoom background so that we're branded. Deb Stokes, our vice president, used that for the first time for all the speakers at the Women in Tech Ambassador Series panel on in June. And it was just really powerful having all 5 have that speaker background. And she did it again at the Discovery Summit. Very powerful branding at events.
United we are, right?
Indeed. ISSIP brand. So then the who is, and this exists as we have a single slide, but this PowerPoint walks through who our leadership is, how we advance innovation through the 4, we recognize with awards, we host regular events, we help members publish, and we collaborate through the force that is you, our ambassadors, and soon to be announced, the academic industry collaborations. And then it goes on for a drill down on each of those. For example, on awards, for example, on the events, what kinds, the publishing, the ambassadors, how to get involved, click to join, prices for institutional, and the contact. So that all exists in a folder here where you can, I wanted to also show you there's a single slide for you. A couple ambassadors had asked for single slide option. Yasi had wanted that particularly. No, I don't have it to pull up, but that exists as well. And Christine has put it in the in a shared box for you. So let's go back to this.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. That's such a rich set of information you just provided. You know, what on a particular topic? Yeah, this one, the leadership. Would you, Jim, make some comments on the leadership upcoming, you know, changes, other than the VPs that we were supposed to vote? Any other? And then Michelle, you mentioned Cecilia Lee stepping down as the editor-in-chief. So anything else, like, you know, the two new members of the board of directors, right?
Yeah, actually to walk through this slide, and then Jim can talk further about the particular leaders. Yeah, Jim, I don't know if
that'd be good. Yeah,
we've always shown our board, right? And then as I'm out talking to institutional member prospects, I want to also stress the amazing people that are on the strategy council, the leadership team, you know, so trying to get this all on a slide. This is in process, right? These dots, but on our board, like we have Jim, who's both. He's on the executive leadership team and serves on the board. So that's why there's this little overlap, trying to be creative here. But on our board of directors, Rama Akiraju had left IBM and shifted again, like Cecilia, staying actively involved, and she's shifting to the strategy council. So that left an opening on the board, and we've appointed Jeff Welser was elected. And for Cisco, 2 new members were announced earlier this year, Annie Hardy, Warner de Hoyer. And what else? Cecilia is stepping down after 2 years. I mentioned that. And that is an opening. And boy, I turn to this group. We have a call out for a chief content editor, just someone who, you know, what are the top 2-3 most important things? Let's make sure we're focused on those and highlighting it appropriately in the newsletter and editing content. If you know someone who might be interested in that role, that's an opening. Jim, further, well, there were the new appointments. We'd talk about later or now?
I think we can maybe talk about it later, but yeah, that was a good overview. People should know Michelle has a annual ISSIP calendar. So when you see that at some point, you'll kind of get the idea that every month there's something that ISSIP has. And, you know, this month, one of the things is the VP election, right? But other months, it's like the Excellence Award, it's the Progress Call, Board of Director Call, it's the Discovery Summit. And to make sure all of these events and our annual calendar works, the leadership team has a executive committee meeting every other week. So twice a month we meet just to make sure everything's going to, you know, happen the way it's supposed to. And everybody that's on the board is invited to the executive committee bi-monthly calls. All the past presidents are invited as well. And of course, Michelle leads those as our executive director for the last 18 months. Thank you very much, Michelle. So yeah, I think, you know, that's probably something especially the new ambassadors. We've got a number of new ambassadors on this call, this annual ambassador call. And it's probably, you know, as a new ambassador, you're trying to, you know about ISSIP, you know about service innovation, but you're trying to maybe understand ISSIP as an organization. And this leadership and the monthly schedule of events is really key to understanding ISSIP. I'll stop there, but hopefully that was helpful to folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jim. You know, because you mentioned the new ambassadors, and we have several here. So I'd like to welcome them, right? So Michelle, can you please move to the page that we have the new ambassadors?
Ambassadors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. Here we
Great.
go. We
We
have
have
10
yeah,
of them, right?
absolutely. And let me welcome them all. Some of them are on the call.
Yes,
Um,
that's why, maybe we can take a moment to ask them to introduce themselves.
Oh, that would be even better. That would be great.
Yeah.
And maybe start with Mauricio and
Yeah.
Vishali, since they're VP candidates as well. So Mauricio, do you want to introduce yourself? And then we'll go to Vishali and
Sure. Good night. Good evening. My name is Maurício Moyes, originally from Brazil. I am a service designer with extensive experience in the field, and had the opportunity to work with ISSIP several times, with Yassi. When I was teaching at SCAD, I was the program coordinator there. And then I joined Truist Bank as a service design director. And now I'm really focused on human-centered artificial intelligence, right? Trying to understand how to make the world a better place using AI.
you and a lot of others, Mauricio, focused on human-centered AI. Thank goodness. We need that help. Great, thank you. Vishali, do you want to go next?
Thanks, Tim. Hello, everyone. I'm Vaishali. I originally come from India. I've studied at IIT Chennai, worked at IBM for a little over a decade. That's where I had my first stint with Jim, and I did bother him with all my questions and queries, and I think that's the reason he remembers me. Thank you, Jim, for taking the initiative to push me forward for the elections or for the nomination. Very great to see a lot of people here. I'm still learning, still scratching my head to know what's happening. But yeah, I will go forward with the membership part of the role here and call it community now, no longer membership. Trying to form different ways. I always look at things very creatively. I'm also an artist, so I have that instinctively built in me. And I'm looking forward to working with all the people, learning, sharing, and bringing a stronger community, especially for ISSIP. That's a little bit about me, Karen. I was recently working with Google until I got laid off in January. Right now, I'm with the CMS.gov as a consultant on the healthcare, my first stint working out there. Nice knowing all of you, and let's see what we can build as a community here. Thanks, Tim. Over to you.
Wonderful, thank you, Vishali. And I see Laura Anderson is on the call, I think, and she's next. And Laura?
I am. Hopefully you guys can hear me.
Oh my gosh, you're in the office. You're in the office.
Yes, I've been in my office lately. Something new and old. So as Jim said, I'm Laura Anderson, and I'm coming to you from the Almaden Research Center. At the moment, I'm a longtime IBMer, and my focus now in the division is on external recognition and helping everybody understand how to build more eminence. And that's a great thing that that we all do together here in ISSIP. My research area is on technical collaboration. And I think service is such a perfect place for that and for the intersection of technology. So I'm happy to be an ambassador, and I look forward to seeing you all more.
Fantastic, thanks, Laura. And let's see, I am just going through the list here. I see Kevin. I saw Kevin. Oh, I see Bert and I see Kevin. So Bert, do you want to go next?
Okay. Yes. Hello, Jim. And yeah, I'm from Vancouver, Canada, and I'm president of the Socio-Technical Systems Roundtable, which is an organization that has been in existence for about 30 some years, bringing together academics and practitioners who do organization design that incorporates both human systems and technology. And so, much like Mauricio, a lot of our interest right now is around the incorporation of human-centered AI in the way we design organizations with sort of fifth generation technology. So I guess I met Jim, it was in 2019 in LA when he joined our conference there. And I've every once in a while kind of poked my head into some of your events and been very stimulated by them, because you're one of the groups that does have, it seems to me anyway, a good understanding of the socio-technical connection and the way technology needs to be developed and adapted in a particular way in order to realize the benefits for people as well as in terms of productivity. So yeah, I'll try to do whatever I can to bring your voice to my colleagues in the roundtable and the socio-technical field.
Wonderful. Thanks, Bert. And we'll circle back to Jay, but Kevin Clark, do you want to go next?
Hi, everyone. Kevin Clark here. I'm in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And I met some of you at the recent Applied Human Factors and Ergonomics Conference in San Francisco. So, Jim, thank you for bringing me briefly to the dinner. I didn't even get to the appetizer course, but because I had another obligation that I had to fulfill. But it's great being with all of you. My ambassadorship is based on leading a program at the People-Centered Internet. And we're in the process of working with Vince Cerf to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Internet that will be taking place next year. So we have a lot of activity going on there. If you're interested in that, let me know. I spent 30 years at IBM, a lot of IBM here, and then graduated. I was the first brand steward for ThinkPad notebook computers, and ended my career as the director of brand and values experience, pioneering how you use experience to change the strategic relationship that we have with our customers. After retiring, I've spent the last 14 years as the federation leader and president of Content Evolution. I federated my supply chain after retiring. I said, would you like to do something for other companies? And indeed, we've done that. I'm the chairman of Choice Flows, which is a quantitative research company. I sit on boards of directors. And right now, I'm spending a lot of my time designing a strategy for a set of global innovation centers that will be in major cities around the world for a large enterprise client. So busy, but I'm delighted to spend some time with all of you.
Thanks so much, Kevin. And we'll go to Jay next as a new ambassador. But I'd also like to, if we could, Alka Roy, I know you have to drop off in 5 minutes. So maybe after Jay, you could say hello, because you're a relatively recent ISSIP ambassador, I think, from 2022. So Jay, do you want to go next? And then we'll go to Alka.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim, for inviting me. My name is Jay Kandapule. I'm a professor at Ohio State University. My area of interest is service management. That's how I got to know Jim some years ago. So ever since we've been in touch, and so I'm delighted to be involved and be part of people who know and work around the idea of service. So thank you for inviting, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your great organization. I'm probably a little different from majority of you. My background, as you can see from this screenshot, that's in Austria. I grew up and studied in Austria. I specialized in hotel management from Austria. Then later on, went to do my MBA and PhD in service management. So that's how I ended up and traveled around the world until I got to the US. So I'm also the editor-in-chief of Journal of Service Management. So if ever any one of you think about a journal, which is a highly ranked journal, number 2 in the world in services. So that's something else you could think about.
Yeah, that would be great if there's a special issue, Jay, sometime on human-centered AI or something else, anything. It would be great to have a nice ISSIP blog post from you, just pointing people to your journal. And before Alka has to leave, I don't know, she might have already had to leave, but Alka, do you want to just say hello?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
All right, great. Yeah, I'm hopping on a call at 5:30. So thank you for bringing me in. Jim and I worked on the AI principles, so trusted AI task force for Linux Foundation. And I'm really glad we were able to bring so many corporations together to actually agree on something, even though we spent so much time thinking about, each portion of it. And then after that, I used to work, I was at AT&T Foundry when I first met Jim, and the Innovation Center in Palo Alto here in California. And while we were doing all that, all these light bulbs were going off, and lots of conversations with Jim and other folks. And I started this Responsible Innovation Labs. And since then, I've been teaching here and there, speaking a lot about stuff. But what I'm really excited about today is hearing all the people in this room who kind of don't have to be convinced that people come first in any innovation, exercise or thinking about it. And I just finished teaching at an innovation center, Idea Center at Notre Dame. And it was really refreshing to me because that group also kind of got it. And I think there's a lot of work to be done. So please, I put my LinkedIn. I know I have to drop, but please find me. Jim has been trying to get me to be more involved and organize things. And I would love to see how we can harness this amazing set of minds and energy and bring this conversation in a more powerful way, front and center. So thank you again. Sorry I have to hop off, but lovely to see you, Jim, and meet everybody. And I voted. I know you pinged me. I listened to you. I always do what you ask me. So, and good to see you, Michelle. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Alka. Thank you. Back to you, Chris. I think I maybe we can continue with the people who haven't introduced themselves yet, but I think we got the new ones, Christine.
Yeah, I think we should ask, did we lose Lo already?
Lou Freund and Lena Zhao. Yeah.
Lena
and David
Matthew,
Ng. Yeah.
David Ng, and then where's
I'll just go first. Hi, my name is Lou Freund. I'm the professor emeritus at San Jose State University, and been working with Jim in the area of service engineering and service management for, I guess, since 2012, when we put on a conference called Human Side of Service Engineering as part of the AHFE conference, which will be in Nice next July, if anybody's interested in participating in that. My interests are in the area of co-production and quality, and I'm working in an area called T-shaped metrics right now, trying to come up with a way to quantify the idea of the stem and the T-top, so we can have a meaningful discussion about how T-shaped somebody is. I think I'll stop there, but nice to see you all, and appreciate you giving me the opportunity to say hello.
So much, Lou.
Thank you, Lou. Should we move to Bert?
Bert has already introduced himself.
David.
But,
David on.
David, also Canadian like Bert, though. Hey, David.
Yeah, but in Toronto. So I'm a researcher floating around these days. have Jim roped into a book that we're working on transition from Industry 4.0 to 5.0 that's due like the end of this month. So we're heavy into editing. I come from the system science community, and Jim was one of the people who came down Cancun 2005. We're early on the bandwagon and looking into service systems since then.
Thank you, David. You're way ahead of us. I'm still working on Industry 4.0. So you're already moving on to 5.0?
Yeah, definitions are a problem.
Right.
It's great to meet you, David. I've read about you and all your work, so it's great to see you.
Yeah, we have
fellow
that. Yeah, no, we should schedule an offline talk. I've been working a lot on getting philosophical in the systems community, because in 2012, when I was president, it was rethinking system thinking. And so now we've crossed over into Chinese philosophy, and the latest publications will be about socio-ecological and socio-technical systems, with socio-technical as yin and socio-ecological as yang. So there's a lot there.
Hold on to that thought. We may come back to have more of a discussion around that. And then so let's move on to Lena Zhou.
Yeah, hello. So it's nice meeting all of you. And I was introduced to this community by Jim, and he really led me all the way. And over the time, so we first met at Higgs, and over the time, Jim has participated, served as a panelist at several international conferences. I happened to serve as a moderator of those panels, and so I learned a lot from him. Not only through the casual conversation, but also through these all kinds of panel discussions. And I'm currently a professor at in the managing information system at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Previously, I was a professor at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. So all my professional career have been stuck at the university. So the service has the central theme of my job and the responsibilities. And on the research side, I'm on one hand, my home area is the AI, really, the NLP text mining. So on one hand, I do a lot of research in knowledge discovery. On the other hand, I also is very much interested in how to empower people with those knowledges. It's not just about discovery, it's also about how to deliver and how to really make people adopt the knowledge and so on. So therefore, this community, I feel like right at home. Hopefully I will be able to contribute to the community, and also it's a great opportunity to know so many people I greatly admire and respect and in this organization, and I look forward to more collaboration and opportunity to work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena, and welcome. So Jim, before we move to more of a casual discussion here, I'd like to ask you to do a recap for the Discovery Summit that we had a week or two ago, Tech for Good. And that would be a good segue, and provide some of the good discussion points, perhaps, for the rest of the meeting tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Our last Discovery Summit, the Discovery Summits are, of course, our big annual online events, 2 hours long. So they're a little bit longer than other online events that we do. And this year, the topic was Tech for Good. And I think we really had, an outstanding meeting. This is the link right here to it. And we had, from the National Academies, we had Carlotta Arthur as our keynote speaker. And she really made a great point. She said, if you want innovation to work, the more diverse the team you can have creating it, the more likely you will have the benefits and mitigate the harms. And she did a great job of talking about not putting and she leads the social science at National Academy. So she was especially saying, make sure to include the social and behavioral scientists right up front. Don't add them on at the end when, basically all hell breaks loose. Keep them involved in the beginning, and you're more likely to see the potential harms that could be coming your way. And she did that with some amazing cases, and I thought she did a wonderful job of making the point about diversity, which I think all of us here at ISSIP really appreciate. And then Deborah Stokes, who's our vice president from Dell Technology, she'll be our president in 2024. She ran the panel, which included Vanita Wells, who's an old friend of our executive director, Michelle Carrolls at Meta. So thank you, Michelle, for inviting Vanita. She was just amazing. I loved how she started her talk. She said, I used to think all this virtual reality stuff was just stupid, dumb technology. And then she proceeded to say what changed her mind and why she started thinking this is an important technology that could have a huge number of benefits, and showed a lot of video clips and, really made the point like empathizing with different stakeholder groups that may not be like us. For example, she had one virtual reality experience to kind of empathize with what it must be like to travel around the US as a Black person. That was very powerful. Many of the other things she presented was very powerful as well. Then David Lee, who is Yasi Mogadam, helped us get David Lee. He's the director of Tech for Good Lab at UC Santa Cruz. And David's working with hundreds of students every year. And I've met some of these students. They're just off the charts. I have so much confidence in the future when I meet the next generation that David Lee is cultivating there. Renee Yao is another colleague of Michelle. So thank you again, Michelle, for getting our speaker from NVIDIA talking about health and AI startups and technology for good there. And last but not least, we had Nicole Reinecke, who's also one of our VP candidates. She is the author of Compassion-Driven Innovation, a book in our ISSIP book series, and also the co-chair of our strategy council. And Nicole gave a very interesting talk about her views on technology for good, especially around some of the work that she's done with compassion-driven innovation. And I think, Bert, you really hit it off with some of the points that she was making. So thanks for joining that Discovery Summit. But I hope that gives a little bit of an overview. You can watch the replay of the YouTube if you want. And people speak slowly in real life, but you can always watch the YouTube at 2x speed if you enjoy it like that. I do. But it was really quite good. And thank you, Michelle, for putting it together. I think the only thing outstanding there is we're still working on the white paper. So if you haven't done the survey for that, I guess there's still time. We've had students analyzing that, getting the position statements together for the ISSIP white paper, which you can find under publications. And there's a pretty standard format we're developing for ISSIP white papers from Discovery Summit. So I think I'll end there, Chris. Hopefully that gave people that weren't able to attend a sense of it. Christine, you may be on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was on mute. Yeah, thank you, Jim. A great summary. And I was able to only join the event very briefly in the beginning. And so later on, I went to watch the replay, and it was really good. I think was that Renee, from NVIDIA also did a great job explaining how AI is used in the healthcare and medical field. So it was really an eye-opening for me. All right, so where we have this topic, right? AI, trusted AI, ethical AI, and David, you mentioned technical, societal, kind of this, intertwined, right? The two forces. So then, can we spend some time here just to maybe share our view on this topic a little bit? And Michelle, can you move to the next slide? No, yeah, this one, yeah. So yeah, and I saw we have a new participant, Anya, just joined. Anya, are you there? Would you like to introduce yourself before we go into a discussion?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, my name is Obin. I'm sorry for being late. I was coming from a school round.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, and I'm happy to meet you all. And I know I've met quite a number of you. I'm a UX researcher currently with Google, and I've been part of ISSIP. And I'm more interested in the page where how generative AI is going to contribute to the design of new services going forward. Well, thank you, Christine.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
I should mention Obina has done a huge amount to help the next generation in Africa. And so people who don't know Obina, go out and check out his LinkedIn and see all the good stuff he's doing, connecting us to students in Africa. And
That's wonderful. Yeah.
And I'm happy to share my screen just briefly.
And before Jen, before you do that, can I just I just take a picture? Alka left in the flash, so I was not able to do that.
For
the group?
Very good.
For the group, yeah. Everybody smile. One,
Very
2,
good.
3. Okay, got it.
Good, very good. Okay, so on generative AI, just for, there's always an ask, right? We ask ambassadors to do things. So what's the ask we have of you? The ask is, please, in 2024, you don't have to do it like in the next week, but in 2024, if you could write a blog post, a short article, and we can show you some examples of the blog posts so you can see kind of what we want. But maybe you write a paper and you can just write a blog post that points to your paper. Maybe you do a conference, you can write a blog post that points to your conference. The blog posts can be very, very short, and we highlight them in the newsletter, but we like all of our outstanding ISSIP ambassadors to contribute at least one blog post a year if you can. So just for fun, when Christine and Michelle and I were planning this, I said, Christine, it's so easy to write, to get a little help from this generative AI to write blog posts. And Christine says, oh yeah, how so? And I said, well, for example, I'll just say, please write a bio paragraph for Christina Young. And of course, 2 seconds later, I get this very nice, how accomplished Christine is. And then I said, please suggest 3 topics Christine could write about for an ISSIP blog website. And it said, certainly, Christine could consider writing on these following topics: the role of service innovation and digital transformation. Okay, great things. And then I said, please write a draft blog post for Christine on this one that I thought was most interesting. And of course, 2 seconds later, we've got this very, very nice outline. And then oh, this is a student I'm mentoring who's looking for a job. His interest is sports. So I asked for what are the top companies in sports to send over to that student I'm mentoring. But then back to Michelle. I did the same with Michelle, and I got this very, very nice bio, and then suggested topics for Michelle. Here's her suggested topics, and write the draft, and boom, we got the draft. And of course I did it for myself as well, and got mine just for fun. And of course we have to use this ethically and not just copy this stuff. But our ask is that you write a blog post, and if anybody would like to be a guinea pig, I'm certainly happy to I see David smiling, so maybe I'll say, please write a bio for David Ng, former president of System Sciences, former IBMer, and ISSIP Ambassador. Okay, and now we'll see how fast it is. Okay, an esteemed ISSIP ambassador brings a wealth of experience, you know, and it goes out and gets some additional stuff. Let's see if I can see. Remains at the forefront, shaping the future of service.
Oh, I think we lost
He
Jim.
froze.
That was just an overload of praise, and it made the internet.
Please
I know.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, the chat GPT can hallucinate. Okay, so like one of the three topics that I recommend that, you know, that I would be an expert to write about on, you know, which that one was the entrepreneurship, which I don't think I can really write because I never worked on, you know, or started a startup. That's something that my son is interested, but it's I'm learning, but I'm by far not, you know, not an expert on that topic.
But it's still very helpful. It's much easier to edit than create, right?
Yes. And then and also, you know, especially for a someone, you know, that English is not my mother tongue, right? So it's just made it easier, right? For me to write things, because, you know, I can certainly check make sure the content is correct, but the language itself is a big help there. And Jim, I wanted to show you the sneakers my son has. He's collecting Nike's, you know, expensive, you know, whatever the Michael Jordan, you know, sneakers. So he will be very happy working in Nike, I guess.
Okay, I think Jim froze again.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to jump in. I was interviewed for this book, AI Dilemma, that was written by Julia Powell, Art Kleiner, forward by Esther Dyson, about responsible ways to use the technology. You know, my area of interest is really in the data training sets. I'm really interested in what is the source of knowledge that the AI is using. And we're seeing recursively that, that as people ask questions and as the systems hallucinate, that they're ingesting the hallucinations into the data training set, and, you know, some of the responses are degrading. So it's a really interesting area, you know, to see how it's evolving. And it turns out that as new models are released, the fresher they are, the more that people like the responses that they're getting. And, you know, so as it gets old in the tooth, it starts to degrade a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to watch this space.
Jim, can you come off
He's on mute. You're on mute, sir.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I think my Zoom had a little hiccup. But yeah, the one ask I have of everybody besides voting, which I think most every one of you have done already, but thank you for voting. The second ask is think of a blog post that you could do. And if you want an example, there's a couple examples there. If you search, I think for the last blog post I did for ISSIP, it was about AI. And I actually used generative AI to do a draft of it. And then I entirely rewrote it because generative AI tends to be kind of bland. And I think I'm a better writer than it. So I rewrote it entirely. But I did put a link to here's what the generative AI did for my upskilling with AI blog post. So you can compare what it wrote and what I wrote and see which one you like better. But I think, you know, a lot of people say who don't have English as a first language find it really, really helps them get the English right. And what I found the superpower of these systems is when let's say I want to write something for a congressman. So I've got an idea and I want to, make it relevant. I can say, please write this as if it's a letter to a congressman, and it will highlight things that make it much, much more targeted for the particular audience. So it not only can translate from English to Chinese and Chinese to English and all the different languages, it can translate between different disciplines, different perspectives on things. And I really think, that's the superpower of these things. And if I can share my screen, I hate to be, a downer, but it is important that we look at the human side of this and we consider the harm of these things too. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is Noam Chomsky, who I don't agree with very much, but he said, this AI is not like people. It's the largest theft of property since the Native American lands were taken by the Europeans. So there's a lot of people out there who say, and there's lawsuits going on. And this is, every time I use it, I think I'm reminded of the Wall Street Journal that said, using generative AI is like using a Lamborghini to deliver a pizza. It's like you're sucking energy, it's not good for the planet. So it's like, that's bad. And then this intellectual property stuff is bad. But on the other hand, if you don't use it and start learning the skill, it's kind of like, there's this ethical dilemma around this stuff that I think all of us in ISSIP really need to at least acknowledge these points when we show that we're using it, so that we're not just using it and saying it's wonderful. No, it's got harms too. And I think that's what service innovation is about, is we understand the technical capabilities, we understand the benefits and business models, but we also understand we can work on the institutional arrangements to mitigate the harms. And that's service innovation when you think about those systems. So I'll get off my soapbox there, Christine, but that's the fun with generative AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jem, you mentioned you're going to share the blog written by the ChatGPT and also your own version. I think that's a good one for us to take a look at.
Absolutely. Happy to do that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Any questions in the chat? Yeah. All right.
I guess Vaishali had her hand.
Oh no, I have the calendar Jim was referring to. If you guys want to look at that, it is kind of a nice frame for. But I just put it in there. I think you can access it at the link I just put in the chat.
Yeah. I'll just amplify Jim's point about writing style. I've had quite a bit of success in having, say, ChatGPT in GPT Playground turn the temperature down, so that it's not hallucinating. Read a proposal that I've written before, and then say, now I want you to write this for this other client for this, to solve this problem. And I want you to do it in the style of a McKinsey senior consultant, right? And I can change it to, now write it as a Boston Consulting Group consultant. Now write it as if it's for a proposal for a scientific journal article. So as long as you're giving it context for what you want it to do, and you can give it your own piece of information on the front end, read this and act on it, it does very, very well. All right. If you're asking it to go out and search for something, right, the higher probability that it may not go to a favorable source.
I think, talking about the context, that's one way to really make ChatGPT very customizable to the target audience. On the other hand, the context can also be used to misuse for ChatGPT misuse. Basically, Yeah, ChatGPT has already implemented a lot of guardrail to prevent generating inappropriate content. But if you add some context, right, to the your prompt or your query, then it's going to bypass that. It's going to let the guard down. From the ChatGPT side. So that's something I'm really particularly interested in, such as the jailbreak and so on. Even today, the IBM, so you probably also have read the message, basically found out that ChatGPT can generate better phishing emails than human beings. So that, so despite that, it's not supposed to do that, but you can make it work. So by circumvent that restrictions. So that's something I'm particularly interested in.
Exactly.
Thank you, Lena, for chiming in. So Vaishali, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I just had something that I was observing recently. I was doing a project and I was using the AI tools for writing some things. And then I realized that when we use AI tools, we really forget our very core human attitude of gratitude, because you will never say an AI thank you. So I started doing that to play around, and it's very important, because eventually as the kids go along, and it may sound silly and people may laugh at this, but it made me to think that, oh, do I say thank you? Then the guy said, oh, you're very welcome, let me know if I can do something more for you. And so I played around with that, and that's my recent topic that I would want to raise. And related to ISSIP, I'm thinking about what else are the things that we will lose from being human to being whatever, AI or things like that. It sounds very simple, but I don't think there's anything that can replace gratitude. And we shouldn't forget that when it comes to AI. We wouldn't say thank you to AI for doing what it's doing. So I know Jim is laughing at this, but Jim, this could be an important topic we could open up.
No, I totally agree with you, Vaishali, because a Christmas holiday one time, my family we visited another friend of mine, and they have two little girls, and they have Siri, and so they say, hey Siri, the girls just were talking to the machine, right, to the box, and say, okay, can you turn up the volume of the music, right? And or I mean, the way they said it, of course, I said it in a much more polite way. They just basically ordered, give out the order to the, hey Siri, increase the volume. And there's thank you, there's no please, right? So I mean, this is really not how we would like to interact, as humans, right? So I totally agree with you. We don't want our next generation grow up in this kind of
environment. And then I was also attending some session for AI in my office recently, when I said that we have got used to dictating something to someone and receiving that. That's becoming part of us, like, okay, Siri, just go and close my door, or close the turn off the light. So all these factors are very human, and that human part is what is diminishing, and that we should take care that the balance has to be perfect, so that it makes what AI is meant to be. That's what was my thought, and I just wanted to share that. That's what I was thinking towards.
And she did offer additional help to you, so.
Yeah, so we have a minute left. Maybe we can do just to make sure that we hit all the call for actions here. So, one thing is self-nominate for ISSIP Ambassador of the Year award. So this is a new award. Jim, Michelle, and I, we just came up with this,
Hot off the press.
So, but I think this is a fun thing to do, right? Because we not only we work, but also we volunteer, and then ISSIP is as Lena put it, it's a great community for us. It's almost like a big family for us, right? So I think it'd be great if we can recognize people who did great things for ISSIP, and also the supporting organization as well. So that's the form. Yeah, and I will share the PowerPoint in an email, so then you have all the links.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Christine. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.